Hello, I'm Andy Dsida, the president of ChemADVISOR, and I'd like to thank you for joining me in our 2013 year-end wrap-up. 2013 was a successful year for ChemADVISOR. We were able to profitably grow the company in a variety of different ways. That includes adding key new employees, people who brought different language skills and business skills and technical skills into the company. And we were able to do that in both our European operation and our U.S. operation. We were able to add several key new business partners over the course of 2013, including resellers for our products and services in the Chinese market and the Russian market, as well as several software companies that designed interfaces so that our Lolly regulatory database could be used with their software. And we have several other partnerships that, as the year ends, we're still working on. Also able to add several key accounts over the course of 2013, particularly in the service area, and I think this was the case for a couple of reasons. One is that we're in the midst of some pretty large regulatory rollouts. Those are things like CLP and HAZCOM 2012, K-REACH, some of the major regulations. The other thing is that I think ChemADVISOR benefits from what I see as an industry trend of companies wanting service providers to provide a wide scope of services, not just safety data sheet statements for the United States, but looking at a variety of different regulations, from transportation classification to product registration to safety data sheet and label statement creation, and also to look at a wide variety of geographies, Europe, Asia, South America, North America, really everywhere in the world. And the other thing that we were able to do in 2013 quite successfully was to have some major new product initiatives. And in a few cases, these were more upgrades to existing product offerings. In at least one case, though, the Global Chemical Regulatory Report, or GCRR, it's really a completely new offering for ChemADVISOR. The GCRR is a plain text description of the EHS regulations in a given region. And this differs a little bit from what we've traditionally offered, even though the EHS regulations that are covered are often the same ones that are covered in the Lolly regulatory database or in our training classes. The difference is we're not talking about chemical-specific data points. We're talking about a regulatory overview. We offered our first e-learning course in 2013 as well. That was on the job with GHS. And this course being delivered over the internet for the first time is a little bit of a deviation from what ChemADVISOR has traditionally done. A lot of you are probably familiar with our training classes. They've always been instructor-led, whether it's in our offices or on site. And we really do value the interaction between the instructor and the students, and even between the students and the students. We usually have, in a lot of our courses, exercises and Q&A sessions and things like that. But for this particular course, it was for a general audience. It was a fairly short course, going out to a much broader audience. And so we thought it was an appropriate test case for that. And now that we basically know how to put those courses together, we'll certainly consider doing more e-learning courses in the future. Another thing that we added some, I guess, kind of a new spin on was our two ChemADVISOR controlled software platforms for viewing the Lolly regulatory database. I'm talking about Lolly Desktop, the client-server software, and ChemADVISOR Online, the browser-based, I guess, internet viewer. In both those cases, we added some language capabilities. And we added it, I guess, really in two respects. One is the ability to have the GUI, the interface with the buttons and the menu choices and things like that, available in certain key languages, Russian, Chinese, Japanese, and Spanish. The other thing is to have the data itself, the chemical name and the chemical regulatory data available in the source language. So that would be in Chinese for Chinese regulations, in Japanese for Japanese regulations, in Polish for Polish regulations, and so forth, with the ability to toggle between English, the source language, or both languages shown simultaneously. And the final product launch we had for 2013 was an upgrade of our existing safety datasheet authoring software, which some of you may have known as ChemSDS or ChemSDS Plus. And the new software is called EHS Authoring Tools. It's the software that we're going to be using to maintain the safety datasheet documents we write for customers, as well as the OHS pure and mixture databases that we update quarterly. And it's also software that's available to outside customers who want software to prepare their own safety data sheets and label statements. It's a complete rewrite, new software language, new data structure, utilizing web services and some other technologies. So a pretty big launch for us. As we kind of wrap up 2013 and look ahead to 2014, I wanted to note a few things. One is kind of and this is basically an example, we're providing information in a few different ways to you. We will have things like year-end presentations and various updates presented as video content hosted on our website and on probably on YouTube as well. And the traditional newsletter that we provided for 20-plus years, the ChemADVISOR, is also going to be undergoing some pretty radical changes. Probably actually most of the people that are watching this are at least somewhat familiar with the ChemADVISOR. And this was originally a printed newsletter that was sent out to a select mailing list. And it was long enough ago that it was basically articles that were sent off to a typesetter who lined them up on a sheet of paper and ran it through a printing press and so forth. The technology has come obviously a long way since then, and I think along with the technological capabilities you also have an expectation by a lot of our audience that when you're talking about more or less news updates, they want those delivered in a different method, not once every 3 months in a 20-page report, but more frequent updates, looking at the specific updates, not necessarily bundled together for an hour and a half worth of reading. So to accommodate that, we're going to be setting up something that's more akin to a blog format, and we'll be doing more frequent updates, shorter updates, specific regulatory changes in articles, and doing that kind of through the course of the year rather than waiting to the quarter end to present that. Also wanted to note that we have a few ChemADVISOR hosted product regulatory seminars coming up. We'll be having one in Pittsburgh in the month of February in 2014. We'll be having one in Brussels, Belgium in the month of May in 2014. And we don't have a date set yet, but we're also hoping to do a seminar in Japan sometime in 2014. Just looking at 2014 in general for ChemADVISOR, I think it's going to be another successful year. There's certain trends that should benefit all EHS service providers, and those are things like an improved macroeconomic situation in some of the heavily regulated, heavy chemical producing regions in the world, places like Japan, Germany, United States. Basically a lot of the developing world should be in better shape in 2014 than certainly they were in, let's say, 2011, 2012. Also, as I mentioned earlier, we're in the midst of some pretty major regulatory changes. HAZCOM 2012, K-REACH, some of the other GHS implementations in Malaysia, the EU, other places like that. And that creates a lot of work. Companies that want to comply are going to have to, by and large, do a lot of that work in the next year or two. And again, I think that probably benefits all EHS service providers, including ChemADVISOR. And then a final thing that's really ChemADVISOR specific is what I've been talking about previously in this presentation, and that's that I think we've got some very strong products to offer the market, and we have business partners and employees who are able to get that message out to hopefully a wider variety of existing and potential customers. And so I think there's a lot of good opportunities in 2014. And I want to promise the people that are listening to this that 2014 is also going to be another year where we invest in the company. Our mission statement is to be an indispensable source of EHS and TE information for our customers and for our business partners. And in order to do that, I know, and as a company we know, we have to invest, we have to continue to retain good employees, hire new employees, maintain our existing products, improve our products, offer new products, and we'll put the resources in to make sure that that happens. And that's probably a good transition point to make the final point I want to make in this presentation, and that's to thank all of the employees and the business partners and the customers who helped make 2013 a successful year for us. And I look forward to working with all of you again in the coming year. Thank you.